Hi there, welcome to the second episode of my 10-minute moan of today. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a new first. We will have the first transgender Paralympian competing in the soon-to-be starting 2024 Paris Paralympics. And this story came from Daily Mail. Their headline is First Transgender Paralympian competing at Paris in 2024 is unfair, lawyer claims as debate rages over 50-year-olds' participation in the Games. The story goes, visually impaired Italian sprinter Valentina Petrillo, 50, qualified for the Games. She'll become the first ever transgender athlete to compete at Paralympics. However, Spanish lawyer has branded her participation to compete as unfair. So that's the headline and the highlights. The story goes, a lawyer has branded the decision to allow the Paralympics' first ever transgender athlete to compete at the Paris Games as unfair. Visually impaired sprinter Valentina Petrillo, 50, will become the Games' first ever transgender athlete after qualifying. Excuse me a second. Got a video playing. Visually impaired Italian sprinter Valentina Petrillo, 50, will become the Games' first ever transgender athlete after qualifying in the T12, 200 and 400 metres in Paris. Petrillo, who transitioned in 2019, won bronze in the T12, 200 metres at the 2023 World Para-Athletics Championship and qualified for this month's showpiece. However, her participation has caused debate, which follows the much-discussed boxing gender row that engulfed the Olympics, after Imane, Khelif and Yu-Ting participation in women's events. Both insisted they were born female and neither has identified as otherwise, but both fighters who went on to win gold in Paris were disqualified from competing at the World Championships for failing a gender test, which is a bit strange if you're a woman. And now, just days after the conclusion of the Olympic Games, Petrillo's inclusion has seen the debate rage on, with one Spanish lawyer saying that the 50-year-old being able to compete in women's competition is unfair. Well, to be fair, she's 50, transitioned 5 years ago. It means she was fully formed, 45-year-old man before transitioning. And we hear all this debate about, going through puberty. If they don't go through puberty, you're really a woman, all that stuff. Well, this person, when they were 45, right up to their 45, was a man, fully developed. In the qualifying rounds for the Paralympics, Petrillo reached the semi-finals ahead of blind Spanish sprinter Melanie Burgess, 33, who finished 5th and lost out on the chance of competing in Paris. This has seen the Madrid-based Spanish lawyer Irene Aguirre, who specialises in international sports law, claims the reasons for Burgess' failure to qualify was due to Petrillo. Aguirre said, as reported by Bild magazine, which is a German magazine, I believe, our Spanish athlete Melanie Burgess has lost the chance to qualify for Paralympics. The reason is the participation of the man Fabrizio Valentina Petrillo. I take it Valentina, as she is now, was known as Fabrizio previously, who made it to the final instead of her. That is unfair. A report from Bild also claimed that the 40 feminist organisations are also protesting the decision. That's a bit incredible. A letter from the organisation Alliance Against the Erasure of Women said, various national and international women's associations, consortia and NGOs have approached the Spanish Paralympic Committee to contest Petrillo's place on the grounds that he competed with an advantage in a category that did not correspond to his own, and they claim that place for the Spanish athlete Burgess. Mailsport understands that Petrillo had previously competed in men's national races before transitioning in 2019. She had won 11 national titles in the men's T12 categories. Under Rules 4.5 of the World Para-Athletics Rules and Regulations, the government body states that athletes who are legally recognised as women are eligible to compete in female disciplines. Now, the regulation adds World Para-Athletes will deal with any cases involving transgender athletes in accordance with the IOC transgender guidelines, right? And that policy differs from World Athletics. however, who banned transgender athletes from competing in women's events in March 2023, with Lord Seb Coe, the president of World Athletics, stating that the decision was to ensure fairness and protect the female category. So, Lord Coe, who is part of the World Athletics, thinks it's fair that that person should not race against women. Now, this is key. What they're basically saying is any athlete who's legally recognised as a woman. Now, as far as we're aware from the Olympics, if you've got a M in your passport, you're male. If you get an F in your passport, you're female. But a lot of countries let you pick your own sexual indicator on your passport and your driving licence, etc. So the problem is, the belief is that people who can just tick a box in a passport can walk up to the Olympics and say, I'm a female. So there's a lot of different people giving different quotes on this, and they're quite, you know, the guy for the Olympic committee, to be fair, what he's basically saying is, look, they're in the rules. We can't change the rules. Right now, we can't change the rules, so we need to just use the rules, and we have to let her race in the women's races. However, he makes comment that that might change going forward. He says he's looking forward, you know, he welcomes the and expects criticism, but they cannot change the rules. Just now, they've got a constitution. We need to respect the rules. We cannot disrespect the rules. So sometimes, as an individual, I think one way or another, but we need to follow our constitution. We need to follow our own rules, and in specific sports, the rules of international federations need to be respected. So for the moment, World Para-Athletics rules allow Petrillo to compete. So she will therefore be welcome as an athlete. So what this guy that's saying it's even get part of the Olympics is, I kind of know it's wrong, but them's the rules. So we just need to go by it. And then there's comments that Lord Coe may be making a move to be the chairman of the IOC. And if he is successful, he aims to change the regulations for the Olympics. Now, where are we? Speaking of the selection by the Italian team, the 50-year-old sprinter Petrillo, who will begin attempts to win the upcoming games T12 women's 400 metres on Monday, thanked organisers for her selection. I've been waiting for this day for 3 years, and in the past 3 years I have done everything possible to earn it. Kind of weird, right? Because you would think you'd be saying I've been waiting for 50 years, because you're, sorry, 50, aye, 50 years to this moment. Weird language being used. So when there was confusion, debate, argument about the Olympic boxers, where there was some suggestion they were born female, this isn't the case. This is dead simple. You can't even say transgender before puberty, which some people claim doesn't give you the same advantage as being a fully formed man. This person was a man up until 2019. That's 5 years ago. Up until 45-year-old. There's other comments by sports people saying, how's it right that a 50-year-old could possibly compete at elite level in any sport? And that's a good way to look at it. And as I say, we've got comments by Lord Coe, etc., saying it's unfair. So but it's dead simple. There's a man in the Paralympics in a women's event, which is doing a women. Now, it might not be the Spaniard. The Spanish people feel their athlete should have been qualified, but I don't know which athlete, but I know that a athlete is losing out the chance to go to the Paralympics because a man's doing it. Now, I've got a dead easy way of solving this problem and still keeping two categories in sport. It's dead simple. It's that simple. You would circumvent all these chaotic rules, right? You still have two sections. You have a women's section and an open section. That means people who can't not only identify as women, but are women, biologically women, they go into one race, and everybody else, regardless how you want to identify yourself, go into another. So we do away with the man's racing, basically, and we just call it open, right? So we still have two. We don't need to have 94, because some people claim there's more than two genders, right? So we don't need to get confused about all that nonsense. We just say that section over there See for people that were born female, you can go over there and race. See for everybody else, you get into that race. We never see transgender men, that's people born as women, want to go into men's sports. That doesn't happen. The only way is the other way. So solve that problem. Women's race over there, everybody else races over there. Dead simple. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. Join in the comments below, you'll always get some fun in there. But most importantly of all, I assure these people that want to see women cheated out of sports, participation as well as medals, because people are now missing out on Paralympics because of transgender folk in sports. If you're one of them, forget it. See everybody else. Have a great day. Cheery bye now.